Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Way of Thinking by 2PO Games.
Way of Thinking is a party game for 2 to 8 players, and it is coming to crowdfunding. So after you watch this video, make sure to check the link down below in the description of the video so that you can go check out the campaign page and see what this is all about. This is a word party game, and in this game, you and the other players are going to be cooperating, trying to figure out how each other person thinks, their way of thinking when it comes to words and the connections between those words. It's a very simple game, but it's a lot of fun. Let us show you how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it. All right, here's Way of Thinking from 2PO Games. Now, I do want to let you know everything you see here is prototype. The final artwork, components, and rules may be different once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, let's show you what is in this party word game. You're going to have a deck of cards here, a big deck of cards, and these cards are going to have lots of words on them. And this has obviously got a vehicle theme to it, with the different semi-trucks having words on them and them being on different lanes on a highway. But anyhow, the color of the words does not mean anything. It's just you really want to pay attention to the different words. So don't mind the fact that there are different colors. The different colors don't mean anything. But you've got your word cards here. You've got lots of tokens. You've got score tokens that are going to be double-sided with 1s and 2s on them. And then you have your clue tokens. And each player is going to get a shield, which is also going to double as your player board. And on the inside of the shield, it will show you the scoring regimen for however many players you have in the game and how well you did, depending on how many points you scored by the end of the game. So, how does this game work? Well, I'm going to leave the shield like this, and I'm going to tilt the camera down so that you can see what is going to be happening behind the shield here. Now, every player, this is a cooperative game. Everybody is going to be working together to try and score as many points as they can, depending on how many players there are in the game. Now, every player is going to be dealt 7 cards at the beginning of the game. So let's go ahead and do this. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I counted correctly, yes, 7. So now we will take a look at our 7 cards. And this is simultaneous. Everybody is doing this at the same time. And you will decide which of your 7 cards you're going to use. You have to use at least 4 of the cards. You can use no more than 6, so you're going to have to at least get rid of 1 card. And what you are trying to do is you're trying to find a combination between a word on each card that makes sense. So you can see here we've got pitcher, track, grass, bin, and then on this card we've got pin, graveyard, feet, teenager, and let's see what else we have on some other cards. We've got cushion, candy, soap, late, train, table, underwear, knife, chips, secretary, pumpkin tooth, and bowl, cheerleader, towel, back, and dialogue, power, vision, passport. So I'm trying to find some sort of connection here between these words. And maybe I say, well, graveyard and pumpkin, because they're both kind of spooky. They both have like Halloween themes, if you will. And so what I would be doing is I would lay these cards behind my shield and measuring them up to where the 2 trucks follow one another to look as though they're driving in the same lane with graveyard and pumpkin. And then I would try to find something to go off of pumpkin. And maybe I'm thinking, well, I'm going to continue with that Halloween theme and go with candy. And then I would try to find something to go off of candy. You get the idea here of what I am trying to do. And again, you have to use at least 4 cards, but no more than 6. And whatever you end up with, so let's just say I'm going to throw out, let's go with, I don't know, candy bowl. And so then I say I'm done. You know, I'm going to do 4 cards and I'm done. And once you're done, you're going to go ahead and discard the cards that you are not using. And after all players are done, you would maybe move these cards. And the rule book even suggests that maybe you take a picture of how you have it so that you don't forget take a picture with your phone so I know that it's Graveyard Pumpkin Candy Bowl. But then I'm going to lay my board down on top after everybody is done. Then we will raise our boards back up and we will take the front card and the end card here. We'll set them to the side. We'll take the cards that are in the middle. And for me, it's 2 cards, but it may be more than that. And we'll shuffle those up and set those face down to the side. Then we're going to turn our boards like this. And you can see that there is a center gray line, and that is where you are trying to get the other players to guess the correct words. So we take our first card and we're going to set graveyard here on the gray line to indicate that the first word in my line of words here is graveyard. Let me get that in focus for you all and try to anyway. There we go. And then because I have 4 cards, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes over. And our last word was bowl. And so now the other players take a look at the cards that I have provided them, and they will try to figure out how I got from graveyard to bowl using these cards. And, maybe they think, well, chips can fit in a bowl, and graveyard, you don't want to be in a graveyard when it's late, and you eat chips when it's late at night. Maybe they go with that. If they are completely correct, then you tell the players, good job, you figured it out, and you would award 2 points for each correctly guessed card, not giving points for the first and last card because obviously those are already given for you. However, if any of the words are wrong, then you would say, I'm sorry, you're incorrect, and you would get to give a hint or 2. Now, these little tokens out here are going to be hint tokens, and the number of hints that you get to give in this game is the number of total cards minus 3. So in a 4-word segment here, you would only get to give 1 token. If you went all the way to 6, then you would get to give all 3 clues. So the different tokens, the different hints you can give, this would tell you that that card right there is absolutely correct. It does not need to shift in any way. It doesn't need to move up or down. That is correct. Don't do anything to it. Stop. This token here would tell you that that card needs to go to the right or go to the left. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that late is the correct word because we know that it's not, but we also know that it needs to go to the right. It doesn't need to be there. It needs to shift over. This would be a similar idea, except you're telling them that the card needs to go down. Maybe it's one of these other words, or it needs to go up, and it needs to be one of these words down here. But again, you're not necessarily telling them that it's in the correct spot either. You still might need to shift over. Anyway, those are the hints that you can give. And then the players will decide off of those hints what ones they want to change, making a different guess, a different arrangement, and then that would be the end of the round because the clue giver would tell them, okay, you got this one correct the first go round, you didn't change anything about it, so it's worth 2 points. If you get a card correct before the hints were given and you didn't change it after the hints were given, you get 2 points. If they were wrong on the first guess but then got it correct after the hints were given, then it is worth 1 point. And any cards that are incorrect after the hints are given are worth 0 points. And you would repeat this process for each individual player with their segments of cards that they had arranged at the beginning of the round. Then you would compare your scores to the charts that's on the inside of the player shields here, determining how well you did. Depending on the number of players, the game can last about 15 to 20 minutes or so. The actual gameplay, the rules do suggest that maybe you set a timer when constructing your words. That way that nobody goes on and on and on and on and on forever and ever trying to figure out the best combination of words. They suggest 10 minutes. I think that's a little bit long, but that might work for you, but you do need to try it out and see what does work best for you. So this is the way of thinking. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on way of thinking from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, we like party games. We like games that can get a lot of people to the table, something you can play with the family during the holidays or maybe with your kids. What'd you think about this particular one?
I honestly didn't know it was a party game. I didn't know that was the classification for it when we played it. And I don't know if it doesn't feel like some of the other party games. It feels like a game, but I understand because it's quick and many people can participate. But it doesn't. Sometimes party games, I think, can get a bad rap because they're
They're silly, they're zany, they're not so much a game.
And this is a thinker, but it is pretty quick. So I guess I understand that. I just didn't realize that.
Yeah, this is a more not off the wall kind of experience with a party game. It's definitely a fun experience because you're really trying to figure out how the other person thinks. And I think the name is appropriate for this game. And that's a cool experience, trying to understand how you put those two words together and how you got from beginning to end with the cards you're using. And then other person might read it a different way, select a different word, and be like, well, this makes complete sense. How did you not see it this way? And then the other person's like, well, I saw it this way.
We played with our 8-year-old daughter to see the way that she thought.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
It was very funny.
And she's very left brain, very artsy, and I'm not. I'm different. And so we think completely different when it comes to things like this. And that was just very interesting to see her do that.
Yeah.
As far as complexity goes, this is about as simple as it can be as far as the rules go, but it's interesting that the complexity lies in the way people think. And how they play this game.
And because at the beginning of the game, I couldn't get it out of my head. I kept thinking I was making compound words, making words that go together. And I was like, Lance, none of these work.
And I was telling her, you aren't doing it right.
It took me, my brain couldn't switch to just words that are related.
Right. So it took us a couple of times to get this right, but I don't think that is a common thing that's going to happen with a lot of people with this game.
That's just how our brains work.
Sure. And with it, when you do get it going and you start to understand how each person's thinking, I think this game gets more fun each time you play it because you do start to get into a groove and you do start to understand how people are thinking and the way they put those connections together. It's one that you don't want to just play once and then put back. You want to keep going with it. I think it's a great game to play between gamers and non-gamers. What do you think?
Yeah, and definitely for kids. Our daughter really liked it. She's a developing reader, and so there was one time where she thought a word was something else.
And it was the wrong word.
But I saw her thought process there. But it was a really good game to play with her as well.
Yeah, the box says ages 11 and up, which is probably, I think that's probably close to accurate. You might go a little bit younger.
I think it honestly goes with how well of a reader
How well are they a reader, sure. But I think it's a great family game to take on trips and play when you're at a hotel or when you're camping or wherever you might be. It's not going to take up hardly any room. And I think it's got a cool theme to it. It's got a cool look with it. So that is A Way of Thinking. It is from 2PO Games. It is running on crowdfunding. So make sure to check out that link down below in the description of this video now that you've watched it. And leave us some comments down below as well.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.